Welcome back, guys, to the Octopus. We are having a very, very heated discussion here about the officiating during the playoffs. There is still a lot of, in fact, the jury is still out there to say that it's like Young Sport Academy was targeted intentionally, especially because of this point deduction. But we are going to move on to other things. I know angers are already, emotions are already flying here in the studio, but can we talk about where the lessons learned? I mean, for the match-going fans, for the players themselves, for the organizing committees, for those who are just maybe playing their own Cameroon league on social media, because there's a good that is where the real match sometimes is being played. What are the lessons learned? I'll start with you, Tana.
There is a lot of visibility on our league now.
Yeah,
that is the greatest lesson that we should take home. Since this current FECAFOOT regime took office, there's been a lot of media coverage and a lot of work is being done to push the league to a certain level. I believe if it continues like that, we'll definitely evolve. One of the other things is we've not had a lot of controversies regarding players on paid salaries and so on. So a lot is being done to handle that, and it's also showing that the league is progressing.
There are clubs not paying salaries. Very few clubs are paying salaries.
I said a lot is being done to handle that, and it shows that the league is progressing. Obviously, if you want to compare to previous seasons, we discover that
I think it's making a comparison.
We're going at least a step
in the right direction.
In the right direction. So those are some of the take-home messages from the positive side that I can talk of. Not forgetting the fans and the media.
Yeah, but you mentioned something about the other organization.
Yeah, however, coming to the organization, I still feel that there are some lapses that we need to work on. First is about the homologation of matches. It takes time after matches have been played for you to get the official confirmation of the match results. So this disparity or this discrepancy in the time
it gives room for all kinds of speculation,
all kinds of funny things to happen. And I believe most of the controversies regarding what we were discussing earlier, the champion came in because of this window, the window that you had for decisions to be contested.
Yeah, because Frank said you said Opopo did not qualify for the playoffs.
Exactly.
But the reason is because the homologation took so long.
Yeah, the window is too long. I think if the league wants to really stamp,
they should do that within maybe the next 24 hours.
Progress in Africa to be considered as one of the
leagues
at the top, then we need to also reduce the window that is taken by FECAFOOT or the league authorities to homologate matches. So they need to look for a way to work on that. So that's my concern in the organization.
Yeah, Frank?
Yes, there have been a lot of improvement as far as the organization is concerned. I've watched matches both before the playoffs, during the playoffs. Our only worry is, my worry within this playoff this year was the fields.
The pitches themselves?
Yes.
Okay, the choice of the
stadium.
Yeah.
Yes, because I was a little bit disappointed. I had invited a friend of mine, he left Boya, during the world they used our Octopus match. He reached here very late at about 2:30 when the first match was already going on. But by then, at about 2:45, before halftime during that first match, it was Gazen Dinamo. All the tickets were finished. Can you imagine somebody leaving Boya on a ghost town day, preaching to others to come and enjoy himself? He's blocked at the gate. No way for me to enter the field. So I don't see into it why FECAFOOT will not discuss with those in charge of the stadium matches of those magnitudes and put them into the main stadium, the partner stadium. They went and used the 2,000 seaters annex. We're really frustrated.
And in comparison, last year we also played in the main stadium, and there were 4 teams.
Yes.
There were just 14. This time the number increased to 8, but they took the playoffs to the smaller teams. And we were having 20,000-30,000
fighting between Figafoots and
yes, yeah.
These people, Cameroonians, are not going to the field. It is sad when you reach the gates into the stadium and you are unable to get a ticket to enter the stadium. But coming back to the positives of it, just within this season, we have seen investors coming into our league. Players have left the league. Huge sum of money have been brought into clubs. Ateba during mid-season.
We are really getting reports now that Fadil, the midfielder of Octopus, he might be on his way out.
Ateba left for Algeria. Huge sum of money, I think about 300 million last year.
Al Hilal of Sudan. You know, they want to give as much as $300,000 and Opopo is not.
So if investors are coming in, football is the level of performance on the side of the players have increased drastically. Have increased.
And just to say, I think this is the first time that we have played consecutively without unnecessary breaks. The championship, this is second season running. Maybe even third, that there have been no stops, unnecessary stops, because before 2020,
my only worry with them now is the championship have the duration have been respected, but the duration of the Cup of Cameroon, the program of the Cup of Cameroon
has not been affected.
Not affected.
Yeah, but that's a thing, because the Cup of Cameroon programming, as we know, it has a lot to do with the state as well. Not to make it as an excuse, but I think I was just looking at the calendar that was given at the start of the season. The football season has really been, very smooth. Yeah, which is a good thing. I also wanted to say, matches were played on turf.
Yes,
that's a good thing.
That's one of
the
highest achievements. Mr. Eto'o have brought into
but then we know since they came in, they've been playing matches on turf. So it is
continued. It is continued because we need to show that there is maintenance.
Along the line, Yosa, the Babylon teams wanted to withdraw along the line when the season already started. That they cannot be playing matches out of their town. Yeah. So, but they kept on insisting with the clubs, no, now we don't want to play football.
But the UNESCO Proximity Stadium collaboration with Fekafoot is going on in the Tassin neighborhood. Let's hope. It's just a proximity stadium. Let's hope that work progresses well, and maybe before the end of before the start of next season, the teams in the Northwest region, because for a region that has that number of Elite One teams, there were 5. I think it's just Bafut Rangers that have dropped. To have that number of elite teams and you are not having a playing surface, it's really disappointing. So MP, what do you think? The lessons learned, the positives that we can take, we can improve.
I wish the club president should learn from this. If you want to own a club in Cameroon, they should learn from this league. They underestimated this championship. And then if you...
Yeah, that's one thing.
Yes, they underestimated.
Guys like Cameroon and so on.
Look, Cameroon is a blessed country when it comes to football.
Football talent.
And I think to the world, not only to Africa, to the world. And if you see Cameroon developing its local league, we should be more than South Africa. Where has South Africa been when it comes to world football?
No. In terms of talent.
In terms of talent. We have our own
Eto'o,
and then we accepted him to be the Fekafoot president.
Cameroon is a Brazil.
He has that focus. Like we always say in Pidgin, got the job now to play with the entire. Let this president know that they have to invest. And investment should be something that is sustainable. You don't invest today and you expect to reap immediately.
Yeah.
Even with our own local means, when you plan, take 3 months.
Why contradicting yourself?
I'm not contradicting.
You said Opopo succeeded because they
invested.
Now, so
listen,
they invested with the investment they are put in place.
When you look at the gap,
yes,
somebody cannot invest $1 billion, and you are talking of somebody who have just invested 400 million, and you want to give it to that person. We have to say our own the image of Cameroon football. Taking Opopo to the championship and taking Yusa to the championship with the way Yusa players are suffering, who will you prefer?
How do you know they're suffering?
They are suffering. They are suffering. Look at these guys. They are suffering. Look at the way they come to the stadium. Look at the way they come to the stadium. Look at the way they come. You will know that these guys are suffering. So they are still using these guys like they were using the old players in those days. A president will tell you.
So that's why.
Listen,
we heard just at the beginning.
When you talked of lesson, let me land.
You will come back. We had just at just before the start of the playoffs, the players complained they are not paid the whole season. I think they had just 1 month salary or something like that. And even in the course of the playoffs, they still complained about unpaid salary. So I think maybe on that line you are not completely wrong, you know. So
yes, because
if you have just 1 minute to round up now.
If you take Yusa, look at the way they come to the stadium. You take Victoria United, look at the way they come to the stadium. Listen, they are going. Yes.
So because
there must be a minimum. You know?
Listen. Normal standards. When they talk of a championship, especially Elite One clubs, their standard and this standard have been put down by FIFA. They are not going. They are not in line with it. Oh. Let them go in line with it and follow the examples of Victoria United. It's a new club, and we have seen it. We have seen the progress, and we have more to come from Victoria. Imagine
let Victoria be patient with their investment.
We cannot be patient. We want to.
Okay, no, please. I think what MP is saying is that invest first and
invest.
You might be lucky that
you read. But and with a country like Cameroon, with the talents that we have in Cameroon,
if you invest,
you have the players. We have talent everywhere in Cameroon. We have talent everywhere in Cameroon. Go to the butches. I'm a guy coming from whom? We have not been lucky to have sponsors or to have club president
that can invest
on these guys. But these guys have been suffering. I have players, one in look at the country, Lesotho. Go and get his story. I have one in France playing in the fit tie. Go there and get his story. These guys were being promised. They played their life. You needed to see the way these guys were playing. They played their life for no franc, and they were sleeping on the floor. You a player, and when Eto came, he said, "No, I want to give it back to my people." That's the only way you can give to your people. Yeah. How can you give it?
So the lesson.
So the lesson should go to the club president. Club owners, we Cameroonians, we are football fans by nature. We've been with Mila. It came. Our parents, they enjoyed that. I enjoyed Etofis. We should be able to produce Onana today.
And Nathan Douala.
And Nathan Douala is coming up. Yeah. Look at not only Nathan Douala. We have a guy from Menchu, Song. Song is there playing Opopo United. Chindo is there. Look at what he's doing. So we have these local players. When you see some people will see social media, writing on Facebook, writing on Twitter, writing on Instagram, saying no, they have not gone to the street. Let them go and see these guys play. Football is not easy, but this president, they just need to invest. If you have money, invest in football. And to have said it, put your money in football and you will reap. You will reap.
Okay. That's why I congratulate Opopo. Congratulations.
So we will see the performance of for a change. A different team going to represent Cameroon in the continental competition. Sometimes it might just be the name that changes, which would
The only thing I pray the only thing I pray for Opopo is that the guys are too young. Going into the CAF Champions League,
it's another ball game altogether.
It's another ball game. If the president is wise enough, let him get experienced players. Let him sign experienced players and take them. Even if it means going to other African countries and bringing these players to go and play in the name for Cameroon, let him do it. It will benefit our country. Yeah, if the national team or our own national football has been failing us, let our local league come so that from there I think if we pick local players, and that's why everybody is talking about Chan. Everybody wants to see this Chan because what this guy can do.
We will talk about the Chan,
the
situation with Chan somewhere along somewhere down the program. Now, so let us go team by team, and I want I'll ask you in turns. The first thing I'm going to ask is, before the playoffs, which were the teams did you think would be top 3?
I think.
And how did these teams perform at the end of the playoffs? We're going to talk about that after this break. Followers of Hippo Infos, fans of the Octopus, we're back for the next segment of our Octopus show, the post-playoffs Octopus show here in our studios in Douala. So in this segment, we will talk about the appreciation of the teams that just finished with the playoffs. Of course, we know Opopo finished top. Let me just remind ourselves of the final classification. Opopo champions. Cotton Sport finished second despite their draw. Stade Renard were third. Colombe Duja. There's confusion between. Was it Stade Renard that finished second or Cotton?
It's
Cotton, right? Yes. Yeah, because they had 10 points, I think.
Cotton had
11 points.
They ended with
11? No, with 12 points actually.
12 points because the two points that were added, was it actually added?
Cotton drew her last match with
Dinamo.
Yes, so they had
10
points.
10 points.
Yes.
10. Which means Opopo first, Cotton second, Stade Renard third, fourth was Colombe, fifth was Yosa. They just missed out, especially due to that
point deduction
because they finished on 8 points instead of 11. They would have had 11 points, which would have made them to finish second. Probably. And according to the way the prizes were programmed, the prizes right up to the 4th spot, but Yosa finished 5th, which means they had nothing. I think the 4th person had 10 million or something of that sort. Canon, Gazelle, Dinamo. Now, before this playoffs, when you saw the lineup, it's 8 teams. Which teams were you? I mean, forget about what you saw on the pitch. Just try to put yourself at the day when, the day before the playoffs. Which were the teams that you thought of? The first 3 or first 2 at least. And how did these teams perform at the end of the playoffs? I'll start with you, Tanda.
I think Dinamo was one of those teams that were.
Yeah, I think they finished top of their group.
Yes, that were considered to be
major
challengers. Yes, for the title, and so many people looked up to them as bringing football back into Douala.
Yeah,
because Douala
the bottom back job.
Yes, Douala teams had been missing out a lot. So Dinamo was one of those teams that really had a bad playoff.
They were the bottom.
Yes,
they finally ended with no victory, 0 victory.
But then they in the first tenor of the league, they really performed well, and people were considering them to be favorites. Canon, obviously, because of the pedigree they have, so they're also considered as major.
Canon, they are wait for
major title
goes on to, I think it's going to 20 years now.
Defending champions.
Cotton,
sorry, I mean to say Cotton Sport. So the defending the title holders until they were dethroned by Opopo. So those were the 2 teams I think that caught my attention.
Was it not a little bit poetic? Because I think the champions of Cameroon are Victoria United, and they took over from Cotton. And the last one game, the match day 6, Victoria United beat Cotton Sport. So, I mean, there's some poetic scenario there.
Yeah, of course.
The previous champions kind of passing power.
Yes,
champions,
you need to beat,
you two best
top of the game. So, it's very logical.
Yeah. So it means, of course, Dinamo finished bottom, which was very underwhelming.
Yeah, and then surprisingly, Yosa did quite well. because during the first phase of the league, they were really struggling. Yeah,
they lost their first 3 games.
I think it was more related to the management of the club. I think he has made some points about that. So, but they were, I think they had a lot of them. They had a lot in them to show in the last phase of the tournament, and they did so well until the unfortunate situation that that happened to them. So. You start to.
So who are your big winners and your big losers?
The big losers actually is Dynamo. Yeah, considering how well they performed. Then the big winners, obviously, Opopo for winning the title. But Yosa actually, to me, are also big winners, irrespective of the decisions that came at the end of the season to penalize them. But they did so well during the playoffs.
Thank you.
Yeah. Coming to the playoffs, I had 3 teams. I had Cotton, I had Canon, and I had Stade Renard. I had already written off Dynamo. They made a show at Atiba. Atiba left in the month of February. We had a break before.
I think they won just 1 game after that.
As Atiba left, they have won just 1 game.
Yeah, the last game of the group phase.
That's
13 games.
I watched their matches. I watched their match against POA Bamena here at the Mbappe Stadium. The performance was very poor. So I had not put them among the first 4.
Even though they finished top, because it's the performance in the alley phase.
The first phase,
the first phase of the group.
If not, they could have been playoff.
Yeah,
that's where they could have been right now. Yosa surprised us. I think the big winners of this is Yosa. Yes, well, they came from nowhere. Nobody expected Yosa. Everybody predicted Yosa to be the number 8 team in the playoff. It is surprised everyone.
And we're fighting for the champion.
Before the playoffs, I've watched only 2 matches of Opopo against Avion and then in here in Douala and then against UMS in Limbe. Opopo have made us to invest in the young. The Opopo survived because of resistance.
Yeah, that's true.
The youthfulness of their sport.
That's very true.
Led them to where they are today. Because the likes of Cotton even started against that finally that last match, I knew Stade Renard beat Opopo. I knew Stade Renard beat Opopo. But the resistance in them, they didn't relent the effort till the end of that match. So they are, for me, from now, they are the biggest winners of the playoffs. They came from nowhere. They're not among
contenders.
They're not among the 8 teams. But they came in through their protest. They won their protest, came in, and they surprised the landlords and they made the champion. For the losers, I didn't expect even Cologne to be among the first 5.
They did well.
I expected a team like Gazel. Because of the affiliation of the team,
and have been appearing.
They have been there. They're doing the last playoff. Gazel was there.
I think
they underperformed.
Yes, they
underperformed during this playoff. Underperformed.
And they were the team that created the highest number of goal scoring chances.
And you not see that
they created so many goal scoring chances, but the finishing touch was not there.
You see, even during the last time we met during the interviews at the Bonamusa Stadium, I predicted Stade Renard to be the champion. I predicted Stade Renard to be the champion.
And they almost at the finishing line.
The unfortunate incident that
was it? You're talking about Stade Renard. Was their undoing not that loss? They lost it to Cologne. But is that not where they really messed up? Because if they had a draw in that game, or they could actually win it.
Was it about the Cologne match? The match against Gazel, when they were leading Gazel.
Yeah, this Gazel, I'm talking about Gazel. When they matched it 2-1.
That's where they lose.
And they were in a winning position.
That match against Opopo, that's where Stade now was the champion. They had the second chance.
They had the second chance.
And they missed out on the second chance.
What are the big winners? What are the big losers?
Yeah, when you ask me a question like that, I smile because I see myself not really concerned about it. You'll be surprised that I'm saying so. You know, like I told you, I've never been a fan in local football. So I knew nothing about it. And when you go to social media, you hardly see things concerning our local football. But
it's mostly controversies.
When I visited Hippo Info on Facebook, I started seeing things on information about our local football, how the games were going. But when you go to other pages, you go to other sites, what you get is just about Eto, Onana. All those things made me to think that nothing was actually happening until that fortunate day that I called you and you told me you were in the stadium. I said, no, let me visit the stadium and see for myself what is going on.
Yeah. So are you saying that Hippo Infos are the big winners?
Thank you. That's where I wanted to come. But when I got to the stadium,
thank you very much.
We were discussing. He was talking about inviting his friend. I saw the organization was poor. I came with somebody. She left because there was
shortage of
tickets.
Yes.
And then the population, the anxiety from the fans. They really wanted to watch that match, but they had no access to the stadium. There were no tickets, and the stadium itself was small. I got to the stadium, it was jam-packed. There was no way for me to, with my height, there was no way for me to be in front. Everywhere was full. The front seats were already full.
What's wrong with your height?
The people were standing. People were standing.
It did not notice.
I could barely see the stadium.
Okay.
I could barely see the field of play. Okay, but I told myself, if we can have fans like this coming into the stadium to watch our own local league, I'm betting with myself that each football match concerning our local league, I will go to the stadium. And from that day, that's where I met you.
Next time,
I've been in the stadium watching. So I will actually say I cannot give you from day one who was actually going to be the winner or the loser.
Okay,
but I think from next season.
But in the course of the playoffs, which team was
of the playoff, when I came, I saw
started now.
When I saw the first match, Yosa against Victor, I was impressed with Yosa, and I told you that despite me coming from the northwest, coming from Bamenda, Yosa is my team. I was impressed with the way they play, and I had two teams, Yosa and Opopo. Because the rivalry between these two teams,
they pushed the attraction of the players.
Thank you. It was so entertaining that I said to myself, no, if all the matches could be like this, then there's something great about our league. When I saw yours, I just saw them like winner, especially when I saw Chindo, and I was hailing, I was saying, no, this is our own Ballon d'Or because of the way he played. And then if you watch the match, Yosa, Cotton Sport, you look at the play and the goal that Chindo brought the field of play. I for one have been hearing about Cotton Sport since I Cotton Sport. I looked at the way these guys were playing against a local, because I say Yosa is a local team. When I saw this guy came into the stadium, then I saw Yosa. I just told myself that Cotton has won this match. But shockingly enough, it was a draw match, and the goal, Yosa would have won that match. They had the opportunities, but they could not capitalize on it. So I see Yosa
and Opopo.
I see Yosa
as a big winner,
as the team that won the championship because they had nothing.
Thank you for confessing.
I see them as the team that won the championship.
Thank you for confessing.
So when we are talking about football development, I praise Victoria United. I praise Victoria United, and I want him to continue in that same line.
Okay.
If he continues like that, you have more people like me coming to the stadium, and we have fans coming to the stadium.
That is a great
Cameroonian football.
Okay, so a win for Cameroon football, which is what we are all looking forward to. We are going to have another breather, and when we come back, we will talk about the Indomitable Lions of Cameroon.